Navigating to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, click on Groups, then look up the Sandworm team group, which we'll be analyzing and exploring as part of our demonstration. Scrolling down, techniques and tactics used and deployed by the Sandworm team are listed. These can be inspected further when looking at the attack navigation layers. Here, the tactics used by the attacker can be visualized. Attacker techniques are displayed from left to right. Beginning with reconnaissance, processes including resource development, initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, and lateral movement are shown to the point of where the attacker has taken control and exfiltrated your data. This attack template can be used in MITRE, then exported into a JSON file, which may then be used as a simulation in ATT&CK. Moving to ATT&CK, the template can be seen after it has been imported into ATT&CK. This has been set up as a pre-configured simulation for this demonstration. Clicking on the simulation drill down, the configured MITRE tactics used, along with the tests that will be conducted, can be seen. This simulation has been executed a few hours prior to ensure a realistic chain of events is unveiled. This simulation will be picked up from an analyst and XDR perspective, examining the logs and alarms generated in the LogRhythm SIEM. Typically, a security analyst will start their day logged into the LogRhythm SIEM console. Navigating to the alarm section, we can see several alarms sparked from the ATT&CK simulation. Selecting one of the high-severity alarms, we can identify the catalyst of the detection. The alarm name is found on the right-hand pane. In this instance, the alarm is for ESET inspect suspicious executable with .exe extension was dropped. This alarm is classified as suspicious, with the entity's origin found to be on the internal Chilisoft Labs network. Originating on the CSL-Windows 11 machine, the user can also be identified. The process is python.exe. You will notice it is sitting under the ATT&CK directory, where the process started. Below, the file hash is also displayed, along with additional details, such as the IP address of the machine. When a security analyst is investigating an alarm, a case can easily be created by clicking the briefcase icon. In this example, we remove the AIE prefix and finish creating the alarm. Once the security analyst has created a case, they would typically add a playbook. Here, we add a suspected security incident. The playbook is a reference point for security analysis. It showcases recommended procedure one can follow, such as acquire, preserve, secure and document evidence, determine scope of incident, determine response, eradication, recovery, lessons learned, and closing of the ticket. Now that the case is raised, we can continue to investigate more alarms. Selecting case for ESET inspect, trusted process loaded suspicious DLL, we can see it has high severity score. As with the previous example, the machine CSL-Windows 11 is identified as the host origin. The same system user and triggering process, python.exe, is seen under the ATT&CK directory. This time, the alarm was raised for a trusted process loading a suspicious DLL. This alarm is classified as warning. Viewing another alarm, we once more see the same triggering process, Python, on the same machine. A security analyst can now add the evidence to the case they have created. This is how a security analyst will acquire, preserve, and document the evidence from the LogRhythm console. Once they have acquired the evidence, they can go under the Cases tab for case management, open the case they created, and see the attached case evidence. In this example, EI-suspicious executable with .exe extension was dropped. We are now going to investigate this alarm further. Through drilling down, we will identify which log triggered this detection. Inspecting the search result, we are greeted with information displayed through widgets. More detailed information can be found by inspecting the log. This will reveal information such as machine name, IP address, full host name, location, and network name. Here we also see there was one log classified as information. The log source is determined to be CSL ESET Protect, which is our EDR solution. This picks up an event and forwards it to LogRhythm. LogRhythm assesses the incoming ESET log and raises a detection. In the Event and Actions tab, we find more information about the process, including a designated severity score and a link to the ESET Inspect detection. Before we assess the detection from ESET, we can open the current case and inspect the playbook. We have acquired, preserved, attached, and documented the evidence. Next, we will determine the scope of incident. By opening the link under the URL heading, we are taken to the ESET EDR console. On this screen, we are given more information about the detected event. Here, we have an alert showing suspicious executable with .exe extension was dropped. We are given the pathway to the executable that was dropped, named binary.exe, along with the triggering process python.exe, as well as the command that was passed through, which is displayed in plain text. On the right-hand side, details about the triggering process are displayed. This pane includes information such as signature type, signer name, when it was first seen, and when the last execution date occurred. We also have threat intel feed from our ESET LiveGrid server. This includes the reputation and popularity score. Here, we also find the triggering process was first seen by the ESET LiveGrid server 2 years ago. The high reputation and popularity score is purely because it is a trusted process. In this scenario, however, it is being used maliciously. We also have a pane that gives us information on the affected machine. This includes the machine name, relevant tags, parent group, last connection, and detections. In this instance, the affected machine is CSL-Windows 11, which is part of the group we had last connected to 3 minutes ago. Scrolling down, we are met with an overview, including an explanation on why this alarm was raised, what could be the malicious cause, as well as what may be benign reasons. Benign reasons may include events such as an installation, updating, or patching of a legitimate program. We know for a fact at that point there was no patching or installation occurring. Instead, this was part of our attack simulation. Hence, the alarm was raised. Scrolling down further, we will find recommended actions from ESET. On the rightmost side of our screen, we can see the complete process. Here, we can see the process starts with AI_exec_server.exe raising python.exe, which in turn raised 2 different alarms. Trusted process loaded suspicious DLL, and suspicious executable with .exe extension was dropped. At this stage, security analysts taking this as an indicator of compromise may raise an incident. The severity of the incident can be changed. For example, in this instance, we will select High and continue to create the incident. After the creation of an incident, ESET, with the help of AI, will ask if we want to add related objects. From here, we can include aspects such as the affected machine, the triggering process, and the responsible executable. Once we have included related objects, the ESET AI will work out further correlations in the background. At this point, we may be asked if we would like to add other related objects. As we know the event was a part of the attack IQ agent, we can add this as evidence to the case. In the background, ESET will again look for correlation and ask us if we would like to add more related objects. Now we can add the triggering parent process AI_exec_server.exe as evidence. We are left with a detailed timeline of events and progress of the case. By clicking on Status, we can choose to reopen the case, start the process, hold, resolve, or close the case. Following this process with ESET, an analyst can quickly qualify a threat and in turn reduce the mean time to detect. Under the Detections tab, we can view and open any detections attached as evidence to the case. On the right-hand side, ESET will populate additional details for each detection. This includes a highlight of objects that were attached to this case as evidence. Moving to the Computers tab, we can see the Windows 11.chillisoftlabs.local machine listed. Highlighting our demo machine, we find there are many alarms triggered by this machine. Looking into the most severe alarms raised on the machine, we will find a known malicious PowerShell alarm detection. This means a known malicious PowerShell command was triggered. Clicking on the detection, the right side panel will become visible. This brings forth important details, including the command line in plain, simple text, as well as details about the triggering process. Scrolling down, we find more details from the ESET Threat Intel feed. This includes the reputation and popularity score of the triggering process, along with machine details. Further to the right, the complete process tree is displayed. Highlighted here is AI_exec_server.exe, which had raised a Python process, which in turn raised a PowerShell sub-process, resulting in 3 different alarms being triggered. The first alarm came from PowerShell executing a long command line. The second alarm is for a suspicious PowerShell script creating a network connection. The third alarm is set off by a known malicious PowerShell command having been run. Taking this information as a strong indicator of compromise, we can add this as evidence to our case with a few simple clicks. Seeing we are gathering evidence, we can also add the other alarm to the case. Earlier we added the suspicious ancestor process AI_exec_server.exe as evidence. Let's go back to the case and find that evidence. An analyst can easily retrace their steps by pressing back. This helps analysts stay on track while investigating their issue. Continuing onto the Executable tab, we will find the Attack IQ executable previously added as evidence. Evaluation of the AI_exec_server executable can begin by clicking on its link in the main panel. Doing so gives us more information on this executable. We can see it doesn't have a valid signature. It also has been allocated a very low popularity score. The reputation is not high either. Interestingly, this executable had never been previously seen by the ESET LiveGrid server. What does this mean? Potentially, we're looking at a zero-day attack. This application had also made large amounts of file modifications, with 2 registry changes and 126 network calls. Moving on to attackIQ_agent_installer.exe, we find it has a valid signature signed by AttackIQ. Again, it has very low reputation and popularity scores, and had produced a great amount of file modifications, producing 34 registry changes. With such strong indicators of compromise, analysts can select these executables and choose to block them from ever spawning in their environment. When doing so, notice the hash values added to both executables. Meanwhile, the option to clean and quarantine files is selected by default. To proceed, click the Block Hashes button at the bottom of the window. After doing so, we are prompted with a confirmation dialog box, where we can easily and clearly confirm our choice of blocking the select executables. Returning to the LogRhythm case under our Playbooks tab, in addition to having successfully acquired, preserved, secured, and documented the evidence, we can also check off determined the scope of the incident, having checked that only the demo Windows 11 machine was affected. We have also successfully determined the response by blocking the responsible executables. To completely eradicate and prevent any similar attacks in the future, we shift our focus back to the ESET EDR console. In the Detections tab, open the responsible detection, in this case, known malicious PowerShell command, selecting the Details option. From here, a security analyst can take remediation actions by simply clicking on the Remediation button. As we have already manually blocked the executable, we now only need to protect our network by selecting Isolate Computer from Network. Turning our attention back to the affected machine under the Protect Computer tabs, we select Kill process on this computer, scanning the computer for malware, and finally shutting down the machine. From the same window, these remediation steps for any similar future detections can be automated by checking the Trigger Actions Automatically for this rule box and selecting Remediate. After confirming remediation actions, we get instant confirmation notifications on the top right of the screen, notifying us that the process was killed, a scan was initiated, and the machine was isolated from the network. Now we can select the automated actions for any similar future detections. We are now going to configure automatic isolation of the machine from the network and kill the running process on the system, hitting the Apply Rule Actions button. This allows us to safely check that the machine is no longer infected and in safe operational order. Back at our LogRhythm case manager, we can change the status of our case from Incident to Mitigated. In our Playbook tab, we can also confirm we have completed the necessary steps of achieving eradication. As this was a simulated attack, we can also check off Recovery, adding any lessons learned to the case. Returning to the ESET EDR console, selecting Incidents from the main menu and navigating to the Timeline tab, we can copy all of the information. Back in our LogRhythm case manager, under the Evidence panel on the top left, we can paste the information, along with any additional personal comments or notes, finalizing our process by selecting Submit. We can then change the status of our case to Resolve. Again, if we have any additional notes, we can enter them in before finishing off by selecting Resolve. In the Metrics tab, we also have information on time to detection and time to response. Finally, we can move to resolve and close the case from the ESET EDR console. With ESET, LogRhythm, and AttackIQ, it is this easy to investigate and quickly take actions to safeguard your IT environment.